I'm Rachel Steele with KPIP's Local Voices, and with me today is Bridget Hussey, a local educator and theater guru. Thanks for being with me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Rachel.
We are doing this over the phone because we are all sequestered in our homes because of coronavirus, so
yes, everything is remote right now.
Forgive us if this sounds like we're on the telephone and not on the mic because we actually are. Bridget, tell us a little bit about yourself, your teaching, and your career. You're in Fayette.
Okay, I have actually been an educator almost by default. I was an actor out in California, in LA, and I noticed that all of my directors had a teaching job on the sidelines, and so I actually became a substitute teacher and enjoyed it and then became an actual teacher. And I've been teaching for 26 years, and I believe 19 here in the Fayette School District. I've actually taught almost everything because as a sub, especially out in California, you're thrown into just about anything. So I have some for orchestra, ag, shop, and your chorus. So I got quite an experience when I was first starting. I started in elementary, I've taught middle school, I've taught high school, I've taught second language learners, I've taught gifted, and currently, and most of my career has been spent in special ed, which I truly enjoy.
Well, God bless you for that. We need more special ed teachers.
Well, honestly, almost every teacher is a special ed teacher because we have a lot of inclusion these days. So there aren't those special ed rooms where kids are secluded and never get out in the general population. Now almost every teacher has interaction with almost every level of student with special needs. So That's interesting and nice. It's a whole different world from when we grew up.
Yes, it definitely is. And now especially that kids are home from school, many parents are struggling with having to homeschool their children. They're going to school online, how to occupy their children. How are kids doing during this coronavirus outbreak in their schooling in general?
Well, it's really difficult for almost any kid, but especially kids on a spectrum or with special needs because they get extra educational items such as IEPs, speech, other therapies. They may have problems socializing, and school is a great place to socialize versus home because you're in a different environment. The biggest thing I think is since it's such a big change, and it was a sudden change, and it's a little bit of a scary change, is to really talk to your children and make sure they understand what's going on. Saying, this is how it is now. I know it's different, and I know you're going to be confused and maybe scared and disappointed because they're no longer seeing friends that they might only see at school. Even if they can contact their friends, they're only going to be able to do it for the most part over the phone.
Right, and there's high school seniors to worry about prom and graduation.
Bunch of things that they are losing socially, dances, activities, sports. The play was canceled, prom was canceled. Who knows what's going to happen for all the end-of-year things for seniors. It is a big thing. So I think communication is big, and to sit down and talk with your children about what is happening, why it's happening, and what are the expectations for everybody, parents, teachers, and students. So I really believe in communication and talking to your children as much as you can talk to them like an adult as possible. Make sure that they understand and that they are allowed to ask questions and that they are a part of what's going on now. To sit down, maybe make a space for them so that they have a desk or a school area or a situation.
What type of environment can you create at home to help your kids who do lessons online in a focused and productive manner?
Okay, number one, I am a proponent of alternative styles. So really, again, it's based on the individual. There really are kids who can focus better if they're listening to music. So if you both can agree on that, then you say, okay, let's get a playlist so you're not spending all of your time on YouTube or finding the right music. It's like, here's your playlist, and then plug in and now do your work, and you don't touch your music again until you're done with your work.
That's a very good suggestion.
Right. You don't want to waste time is the problem. Some kids like quiet. Some kids like to be at a desk. Some kids don't. So especially I have found over my years, if they're on the spectrum or they're a little bit ADD or they like to fidget. I'm a fidgeter. An exercise ball is a very good thing to sit on, something that they may have to think about, their body has to physically think about, not just in a chair, but maybe being able to stand up, being able to be in a beanbag, being able to change throughout the lessons, how they sit and stand and do stuff.
Or maybe in a swivel chair.
Swivel chair, anything like that. So mainly it's, again, if you can make it a democracy and have the students involved with how they want to set things up. Maybe they want to be, if you're in the kitchen, they want to be at the kitchen table. Maybe if you're in your workspace, you can set up a little workspace for them. Definitely I would make it where you can be available for your student. So you can monitor what they are doing, because if they're doing mostly things online, we all have that tendency to go, oh, well, I'm online anyway. Maybe I'll check my Facebook or watch TikTok
right.
or something like that. So you definitely want to be where you can glance and see what they're doing or be there for help, because that is the one thing that we're missing when we do online education is that personal touch or that one-on-one. As a teacher, I can walk around my room or I can look around my room and I can see who's struggling, I can see who's off task, I can see who's bored, and I can go, oh, okay, well, if you're done, let's go over it together. Or if you're struggling, where are you struggling? Here, let's work this out. So you definitely want to be nearby so that you can give support and help. A lot of getting kids to do work is by being interested and saying, oh, wow, you are doing a great job writing. I know you only have 3 sentences and you need 3 paragraphs, but you have a great start. I'm going to come back and
positive attitude.
In 10 minutes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Positive reinforcement. Now, this is kind of like the new normal for kids. Now, do we have any idea when the on-site classes may resume for grade school kids, or are we looking at teachers putting lessons online for kids for the rest of the year?
We really don't know. It's almost a day-by-day thing. At this moment, I believe our expected return date was supposed to be April 6th, and as far as I know, we haven't gotten any more information that tells us we're going to come back for sure or we're going to extend it. But it's pretty much a daily thing. Our administrators and school board will be looking at what is going on not only globally, but also what is really going on in Howard County to make those decisions that will support everyone. We want to keep everyone safe, but we also want to continue supporting our students and our families as we would normally. So really it's one of those things that keeping in touch is a really good idea. I know the Fayette schools have a Facebook page and a website. We are giving out lunches and physical packets for work if students cannot go online. So people can have daily contact. I know every teacher has some forum where they can contact their students either through Zoom meetings, Google Classroom, or telephone numbers where parents and students can contact them even on a daily basis if they need to.
Now, I know that CMU, when they come back, they're having all online classes for spring. Now,
Yes.
do you expect to be doing some online classes? What are teachers doing during this pandemic? I mean, are you trying to accelerate and combine what you're teaching in your lesson plans for when you do physically go back to school? Or are you doing some online things with students? What's going on with teachers during this? And most importantly, are you still being paid?
Yes, we're actually contracted employees, so that's not our biggest worry at all.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, we have a very supportive school district and school board. They want to make sure that we as teachers are as well taken care of as the students are. So that's nice. As teachers, we are stepping into a new realm. Like I said, I've been teaching for quite some time, and I didn't start with any of these things that we have now as far as technology. Remember, I was in the era of the floppy disk.
Oh yes, I remember the floppy disk. I am that age too.
That's right. About the only thing you could do in the classroom was Oregon Trail on one computer, and you would
or make the little turtle go around and make designs.
Right.
So the older people who are listening to this will understand anything about what we're saying.
And everybody else is like, "What is she talking about?"
Exactly.
So we have a new learning.
This was long before they had Google, Facebook, FaceTime, all
absolutely.
that sort of stuff. They didn't even have cell phones in the time that we're talking about. So we have come a long way technology-wise.
So teachers are learning to do new things. Now, we have used Google Classroom before, and so that is a forum where teachers, administrators, parents, and students can join a class that is online, and things are posted. You can post links, you can post videos, you can post classwork, and you can communicate. You can have a stream where students talk to each other and talk to the teacher. You can do things live. You can do different kind of classrooms and meetings through, I think Zoom is our forum at Fayette. And then teachers are also doing some videoing of their teaching. So it would be just like you were in the classroom listening to the teacher, and then they're posting those videos to go along with work that has been sent home. So basically, the classroom is continuing, it's just not in the same space. So we're trying to do whatever works best for each family. We do have some families who, like me, live out in the country, and our internet is limited or sketchy. So, and if you try to put parents who are working from home and more than one student who is trying to get online, it's almost impossible. So at that point, we still do have physical paper and books that people can come and pick up and take home as an assignment and do. And then if there's any question, they can contact the teacher or bring in the work that they have completed, have the teacher review it and make notes and send it back home. So again, we're trying to hit every possible venue that we could to make sure that our students are continuing to get their education and hopefully even moving forward rather than just having it be a review or a time filler.
Absolutely. Now, well, kids are not in school at their houses. You've been teaching for many years. You know kids.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you can do with school-age kids to keep them occupied and safe besides playing violent video games or watching shoot-'em-up movies? I mean, I know kids love to do that. But,
yes,
we want them to be safe in the activities, occupied, and preferably doing something with their parents. This is a great time if their parents are home for them to get some quality time in.
This is a great time to do things together. There's a lot of science and math in cooking and baking.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that you could do while a parent is cooking. A student could be reading the newspaper or a book or a magazine or a blog to their parents. They could also share. They could say, hey, this is something I'm interested in, so let me share it with you. Yeah. This is a great time to do a written journal or a video journal, to have them do their own podcasts about what they're going through, to have them take what they're learning from their teachers and share it with other friends and classmates online. Say, hey, this is how I did this. How did you do this? There are a lot of resources on the computer that if the teacher hasn't assigned, you could go there for yourself. There are good educational games. There are places where students can make up their own games and study at the same time, like Kahoot or Quizlet. There are good interactive games on their phones that they could have educational purposes. Have them play Words with Friends, which is, Scrabble on the phone, trivia on the phone. There are a lot of places now that are doing virtual tours or webinars. A lot of museums and aquariums and things like that are doing a lot online. So if you've got a kid who's into dinosaurs or history or ocean life, look those up and see what's available to interact with. A long time ago we watched the movie Dolphin Tale, and there's a dolphin cam. You can actually watch this dolphin at any time. So there's a lot of things like that. The zoos will do that if they've got an animal that is, getting ready to give birth. They'll have a watch camera on. You can also, there are a lot of places that do read-alouds or interactive reading and writing. This is a great time, again, if it's monitored, for kids to write or create on fan fiction. If it's appropriate, that's how I've seen a lot of my students improve in their writing and communication skills.
And just to insert something here, there are ways and programs that you can use to limit where your children go on the internet.
Absolutely.
So if you have a school-age child that you're afraid is going to spend too much time on Facebook, or is going to go on other sites instead of their school work site, then you can install those parental controls.
Yes. Yes.
So that's one of the wonderful things.
Right. And mainly the thing is being involved, because we all can get sucked into something. I like to clean house between things I'm watching on TV. And so anytime a commercial comes on, I get up and I do something else. And that's my way of doing the chores that I don't want to do. It's like, oh, okay, I only have to do it while the commercials are on. The problem is then there's a cute commercial with a cat or a dog on it, and you sit through it, and then you sit through the other, and so we get sucked into things a lot. So the idea would be, let's get sucked into something good. You can use the TV. There's some great things, PBS, documentary channels, history channels, things like this. Again, Discovery Channel. If it's monitored, you can watch some really good programming and do something beyond it. You can watch a program on seals or killer whales, and then you can go look them up online, and then you can do a PowerPoint on them, and you can write a paper about them, and you can make flashcards, and you can draw, and you can write a cartoon, and you can create a paper mache orca. The thing is one thing can lead to another. You just have to think, what else can I do with this? This is where community comes in, because you've got somebody who's a techie, and you've got somebody who's very literate and well-read, and you've got someone who's well-traveled, and you have someone who's more scientific, and you have someone who's more artistic or musically inclined, and you can kind of get ideas. It's like, oh, okay, I made this, Play-Doh. Well, I can't do that. Well, let's make a song about Play-Doh. Now let's put a song about Play-Doh. you use your resources and your friends to do other things.
It sounds like this would also be a really good approach for those who have social or behavioral limitations. Maybe do a little bit of school, take a break, do something else that's educational, go back to the computer to your lesson, spend 15 minutes on your lesson, and then go do something else, go
Absolutely.
do a chore or an activity. That sounds really like it would be engaging for most students, and especially those with special abilities.
Yes. Scheduling is really good for anybody, and you can do it in a variety of ways. You can say, here's your schedule as a time limit, you do this at 8, you do this at 10, or yes, just set a timer. You're going to work on your schoolwork, whichever one you want, for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever you guys work out. Or here's your list of things, this is your goal sheet for today. This is what you're going to get done. Have them involved again. The more they can get involved, the more control they feel they have, and the better they will do.
Well, and I have found out that being sequestered for 2 weeks, I do not have, that I know, the coronavirus, but my husband is in a high-risk group, and I have an immune disorder, so we are not going out much, and we are not getting much exercise. What kind of activities can parents and kids do outside that are safe during the pandemic, or what can they do inside or outside to be active?
Yes. The thing is that we have to remember it's social distancing. So really, you can actually get outside, go somewhere. You might not want to be on playground equipment because that might be being,
might need to be disinfected.
Might need to be disinfected. Always carry wipes, always have your gloves, whatever. But, you could get outside and walk and, stay that 6 feet apart from anybody that you run into and be perfectly fine. If you have a yard, you can just get out in that yard. And there's a lot of things that you can do if you don't have the actual equipment for it. Boy, Pinterest is a wonderful app to look up things. And you could make your own golf course, or you can make your own obstacle course, or you can do relay games, or you can make up your own game. It's fun to play baseball, but what if, we had golf and then we had Frisbee golf. So what if you have baseball, but every time you hit, you have to do the run around the baseball bat 3 times so that you're dizzy, and then you have to try to hit the ball or something like that. You can put some restrictions in it. That's what I learned in a dance class a long time ago, was the more restrictions that are put on something, the more creative you have to get. If you have to dance by only leading with your elbows, you're going to get very creative,
YouTube is also a great place for how-tos.
Right. There's a lot of things you can look
how
at.
to play this game, how to keep yourself occupied, how to create something or do something new that may be an activity for them. I know they've got stuff like dancing, workout videos, all sorts of stuff like that you can do just right there in front of the TV.
Right. And you could also find some things that are cultural. Look up how to play cricket or highlight or something, and make up your own. You're not going to find a highlight basket, but you could maybe do it out of old plastic milk cartons or something like that. Look up some things of how do they play something else, and that can even be like little board games. You may not be super physically active when you play chess and checkers, but it certainly involves the mind. Or you do something like play checkers, but every time you get a king, you have to run around the house. You can just be creative. Why do we have to have these rules? This is a great time to bend rules. I'm not going to sit and play checkers. I'm going to play, basketball checkers. And every time I make a jump, I'm going to dunk my basketball or something like that.
Exactly.
combine things, and you can, make alternative rules. Go back to when we were in kindergarten and everything was a free-for-all. So
speaking of kindergarten, what about small non-school age children? Do you have any ideas about what you can safely do with them to keep them occupied and learning things that they do before preschool, like their 1, 2, 3s, their ABCs, their animals? Do you have any suggestions for small non-school age children activities?
Absolutely. Again, there are some simple things to do that have more educational value than you think about. If you make cookies, you can cut them into shapes. You can add food coloring. You can draw or, put sprinkles in an alphabet. So you're making cookies, you're doing an activity together, you're measuring, and you're then creating something else. And the whole time you're talking about it, it's like, ooh, I'm rolling the dough. Let's count how many times we roll the dough. 1, 2, 3, things like that. Ooh, we're eating green lettuce for lunch. Red tomatoes and things like that. And you can do, bigger and smaller, opposites, all sorts of things. As you cook, you can say, ooh, A is for apple, B is for bread. You can take standard things that you have to get done because you're taking care of your early child education at home now. So you have a younger child at home. You're going to have to make them snacks and food and help them, take a bath, get dressed, pick up their toys, make everything a game. Go back to the old Sesame Street and Barney things where you counted as you picked up. You sang songs as you picked up. You make rhymes while you cook.
You read books.
Yes, just simple things that you're going to have to get done anyway can become learning because you can talk about shapes and colors and numbers and opposites and alphabet and rhymes and storytelling. I mean, you can sit in the bathtub while you're washing their hair and say, I remember when Grandma used to, we didn't have running water. You can find a lot of things that, they may not ever get a chance to learn. I mean, I live, my mom's house is being torn down right now, and I'll pull out little things and go, oh my gosh, I bet people don't even, I found a pair of galoshes. Does anyone know what galoshes are anymore?
I have galoshes.
Okay. And in my classroom, I've had like manual typewriters and rotary phones, and kids are fascinated with these things. So finding them or telling stories about them are great ways to learn.
And I can imagine that while the parent is also at home because of COVID or COVID-19, they are going to be doing some projects with my husband and I. We don't have any children, but we're working on getting our garden started. Right. We're working on the garage, organizing the garage. We've got some new equipment out there, and we're looking to clean up and build things in our garage so we can have a nice shop there. Right. And I imagine a lot of people, it's spring cleaning time. What about giving a smaller non-school age kid a Swiffer sweeper and tell them to go around and dust everything? Absolutely. And even if they don't do something productive, they can mimic what you're doing. Maybe one night actually do dishes rather than put them in the dishwasher. Give them little plastic dishes to do so you don't have to worry about them getting hurt or breaking anything. Realize that it may get messy, and that's okay. They can help you sop up the water that they spill. Right. This is a time that, they can do a lot of stuff that you need to do and just let them make mistakes. It's okay. If you're starting a garden and they're going to get terribly muddy and they're not going to plant in the right order, that's fine. Give them their own little pot to plant something in while you plant around the tree. Again, cooking. You can have them do little things. They might not be able to be there right at the stove, but they can, if you've set everything out that you need, you can have them go fetch it. Go get me this. Go get me that. Or pour it in. There's Absolutely.
a lot of things that you can involve them in safely and it gives them experience and time, quality time with the family.
And, I have seen a lot of people walking their infants and children in strollers and walking with their toddlers around town just to get out and get some exercise. And they're practicing social distancing, but they're still outside. So those are good things to do as well.
Absolutely.
Anything else that you would like to add to this conversation?
I would like to say, everyone should take this opportunity to try new things. Definitely share your cool ideas. And that's something that if they've listened to this, maybe we can have a little share time on KPIP's Facebook that is like, what are you doing with your child? And post a picture, because there might be something that we haven't thought of that could be very easy to share for someone else.
That sounds like a fabulous idea.
And community.
and we'll work on that.
Yeah.
I do want to thank you for being with us today, even though it was just over the phone. We got some very good information for our parents and children. And I will get those details from you about how people can pick up lunches, can pick up schoolwork who don't have an adequate or any internet activity at their house. And it'll all be posted on our Facebook page, which is KPIP-LP Fayette. And I want to thank you for being here on Local Voices on 94.7 KPIP.
Thank you, Rachel.